And hello, movie lovers, and welcome to the show. For tonight's podcast episode, I have Alex with me from A Town Reviews. Sell it, everybody.
Hello, everybody.
And tonight we are reviewing 1998's SNL comedy, A Night at the Roxbury. This movie is probably one of my favorite movies with the soundtrack and stuff like that. There is some stuff that wouldn't carry over into that 2021 type of vibe now that we have. And that's something that Alex and I were actually talking about. Now, this was your first time seeing this, right?
Yeah, first time ever.
Okay.
I loved the skit, though.
The skits, it was always funny. Seeing Jim Carrey just randomly being involved in it and stuff like that. It feels like a 90s movie, and not only that, but even with the skit, you can definitely tell that this was a 90s kind of vibe that they were doing with that skit. And it worked for a skit for 5 minutes. The only problem is, it's like the movie Superstar when they do an SNL skit. Sometimes things don't transition over perfectly as you want it to be for a 90-minute movie because it's a skit. It's a 5-minute skit. So it's actually hard to find a plot point for a skit type of film. Although Wayne's World 1 and 2 are the perfect ones that I could say that did that.
Yeah. And
everything. But what about you, though? This is your first time seeing it. Tell me some of your positives and stuff like that.
I do think it is one of those skits, like you said, does it really translate well to the big screen? I actually did love Superstar. that has to be my favorite SNL movie. Just anytime she was trying to make out with that tree and she's like seducing it, it kills me. And honestly, with this movie, I think if this whole, like the whole hour and a half, however long this was just like the skit. It was just them repeatedly getting kicked out of bars and traveling to a new bar until eventually it sticks. Like, I think that would have been funnier.
Which they do that, in a sense, they actually do that in the first 5 minutes. They're getting kicked out of bars. We see that, but you're hoping that that kind of setting would actually set the standard for what we're going to get later on within the movie itself. I get you.
Yeah, and I was like, I'm fine with just that. Just keep having them be silly at bars and then getting kicked out. And then eventually there's a bar that accepts them.
Right. And then, of course, the biggest one that they want to go to is the Roxbury, which is hard to get into. They go to this other club and get kicked out. And I like the jokes that they're telling to everybody when they're waiting. Goes, yeah, I was like Emilio. It was Emilio Estevez, the Mighty Ducks man.
I was feeling so uncomfortable for them. I was like, oh, no one likes them. They're trying so hard. I'm so sad for them.
And then they don't even care, though. They actually know how ridiculous they are, but they just don't care how over the top they are. They think they are the man. If you think about it, even if they don't even score a number or anything like that, they think that they scored.
You gotta admire the self-confidence that they have. And I also loved the brotherly love they had for each other. They're always telling each other, like, you're a good looking dude. He's like, yeah, I am. Thanks.
He goes, well, thank you, Steve. Thank you, Doug. Thank you. And then there's also the you know what? There's just so much fun, a little bit of funny stuff in there, though, too. Like at the bar, when we first see the introduction, which actually what the skit is actually based off of and everything, you do see that introduction. I do like whenever they're bouncing back and forth with the girl and stuff like that, and then she walks off. I'm laughing, but at the same time, it also makes me feel a little uncomfortable because of the fact this is now 2021, and that just wouldn't fly in today's time.
Yeah. I was like, ooh, a little rapey, but it was funny when they were dancing on each other.
Right.
And they're just going crazy. I'm like, that's how I'm going to start doing at the bar. I'm just going to be standing there just
no rhythm, no nothing. Just go at it. Just see what happens.
Just letting the music flow through me. If that's how it wants me to flow, I'm not going to disobey it.
Right, exactly. I can see a girl randomly coming up to you. What's this dude problem? I'm just feeling the rhythm, baby. I'm just feeling the rhythm. I'm going with it. I'm feeling the music, feeling the vibe. I got this. Don't worry about this. I got this.
That gave me a headache. I could probably only do it for a couple of minutes.
But I also like how they go, "What's up? You from out of town? Me, him, you, him, huh?" I like that. But like I said, this actually starts off with Steve and Doug, and they are actually wealthy businessmen. And in their spare time, they enjoy frequently nightclubs where they bob their heads to infusion in Dorn's type of music, electronic dance music, and fail miserably at picking up women. Their goal is to party at the Roxbury, a fabled Los Angeles nightclub where they continually get denied entry by the hulking bouncer, which is played by Kingpin himself from the early part of the 2000s of the Ben Affleck film, and also played in The Green Mile.
Green Mile.
Which
Michael
is one of my
Clark
favorite movies.
Duncan.
Yes.
I did. I'm not gonna lie, because I loved Michael Clark Duncan, especially
Me too.
in Green Mile. That was a great movie. If you haven't seen it, watch Green Mile. To those watching this, but yeah, when I saw him on screen, I was like, "Oh, that's Kingpin," and I kind of teared up a little. I was like, I miss him, man. I miss him.
And just to see that comedic side of him was just funny though to me, because when Steve and them come up and Doug, he's like, "What's up? Hey." And you guys still can't get in. You guys have to wait in line. And then all of a sudden they see this other guy slip him like $100 bill. He goes, it's time to play a little softball.
They're gonna give him a 5.
You may know my friend, Abraham Lincoln. What about the other bad boy in the bunch? George Washington and George Washington. You guys still can't get in. If you're not on the list, you can't get in. And then finally, they're waiting in line, and then they see Richard Grieco in this movie, who makes a cameo appearance, which I think is funny. Of all the Hollywood people that you would actually run into, they run into Richard Grieco and everything from 21 Jump Street, which is actually really comical if you think about it under the context of how he shows up.
Yeah.
And
I honestly felt embarrassed because I didn't know who Richard Grieco was. Like watching this movie, I'm like, "Oh, Richard Grieco, okay, he's a famous guy." And then they started saying, "Oh, 21 Jump Street, 21 Jump," and I'm like, "Oh, he was the other guy with Johnny Depp." Okay,
yeah,
cool, I'm on board. I know people.
See, I know people too. I got connections. What's up? But yeah. Then of course, he winds up shooing them away and everything because of the fact that the club is now closed. And also too, then the next morning they're getting up and everything, and then the father's like really controlling. He doesn't believe in them at all or anything like that. And also too, the robes also matches their suits on what they wear from the nightclub. Steve is wearing his maroon robe, and then you also have Doug, who's wearing his blue robe and everything, and just matches and everything perfecly. But yeah, I just thought, yeah.
Oh, sorry. No. I was just gonna say their outfits were always on point, though. I'm gonna have to go shopping after watching this movie. I was like, "Oh, what did Will Ferrell wear? Yeah, I'll get that."
Right. And then also too, another thing that I find that was actually hysterical was like, "That's all you guys do is go to bars, and that's all you do." And he goes, "That's it. I'm taking away your car." And he goes, "You know what, Dad? You can take away our car. You can take away our dignity. But you know what you can't take away? Our dreams."
Come on, Steve.
Come on, Steve. We're not gonna put up with Dad no more. And then of course he goes, "But Dad makes a point." You see? One kid has their heads up his ass, and the other person has their heads up in the clouds. But yeah,
he was a lovable doofus.
He was,
and Doug was just doing way too much. He and what they kept doing that made me like, what was that? Did they just snort a line or something? Like they just kept doing that. Even in the skit, they would do that, and I'm like, why?
I don't know. I don't get it. Unless they were trying to go for like an '80s Vice Miami Vice kind of vibe that they were going for or whatever, and they were doing that. I don't know what they were mimicking off of that, but I thought it was funny. But I can't help but laugh at how ridiculous it was because it's Steve and Doug who's doing it. So I mean, you have to expect some ridiculousness from those characters to do something like that. To be honest with you. But then, of course, you know, the father also owns a flower shop, and they're also working. And I like how, you know, you have Doug, who winds up making this the wedding cake, the wife off the wedding cake, and the husband, and they're at like a nightclub. He goes, "Hey, let's shake it. What's going on? let's go. Let's get it on." And then the father walks in. He goes, "What the hell are you doing?" He goes, "Nothing." He goes, "Quit playing with the arts and crafts for the cake." He goes, "It's not arts and crafts. I'm making a jungle themed club in here." It's just hysterical.
This how they were behaving in this movie reminded me a lot of Step Brothers.
Yeah.
I don't think they say their age in this movie, but I'm pretty sure these guys are at least in their 30s.
Yeah, I would like to say Will Ferrell was like really young during this time. I think maybe in the 30s and stuff like that. Chris Kattan also played another movie I like. Corky Romano was also another movie he played in that I liked and everything too. And of course, he played a little bit part in House on Haunted Hill, the remake.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he played the caretaker or something like that.
Oh, wow.
For the remake.
That's cool.
So he played a little small bit part in it, but you know, it was fun just seeing Chris Kattan in it. But he doesn't really play in anything much now. I wish that I liked him as an actor. I just wish that he would have been playing in more stuff.
Yeah.
But also too, also there's also this other thing that happens with the credit card. This other person comes up, the customer comes up to him, he goes, yeah, he goes, yeah, that'd be like $60. So he goes on ahead and pays with the credit card, but he's like, but wait, I have to make sure it's not stolen. So he calls up Credit Vixen to see if it's actually stolen or not. He goes, okay, Doug, swipe the card. He goes, oh yeah, you like that? You like how I swiped it? I'm like, yeah, this definitely would not be. But she's laughing it off though. She's actually, you can definitely tell there's something there that she likes about Doug. In a sense that she actually gets his humor. He goes, yeah, Doug, it's fine. You can go now.
She approves.
She approves.
That was also that was stuff like that in comedy movies is always kind of strange to me. It's just like, oh no, in no realistic scenario would someone think that's attractive and you'll be able to develop chemistry from it. Like if I was the credit card person and someone's like, yeah, you like it when I swipe it? I'd be like, I don't like this.
Then needs to be like a State Farm commercial. You like that, Jake? You like how I swipe it? I can swipe it all night. You like
this, Jake from State Farm?
I'm like, no, I don't like that, Jake. I don't like that. I can see if there was anybody else, they would have actually hung up on him. But unless you share that same humor, I don't see that actually working out for you in your favor, to be honest. You can definitely tell this is not a movie that's actually realistic at all. But, you know, it has its moments. But there's also another thing, too, that winds up happening, too. The father's shop is actually next door to this light bulb place that sells light bulbs. And so happens to be the owner has a daughter named Emily. Emily just got back from college and she likes Steve and everything. And she goes, you know what? You and Steve would actually make great kids. No, Dad, stop it. I would not. And then Doug goes on ahead and goes, Steve is not even interested in her. Just being a total douchebag towards Emily. But Emily is not that great of a person either, though.
Yeah, which you find out later, and we'll talk about it in a bit. But what's that actress name again? I just learned it. And what? It's like some...
Molly Shannon.
Thank you, Molly Shannon. Her and Will Ferrell, because anytime they're together, they have the best on-screen chemistry. They're both so ridiculous, and Molly Shannon by herself is hilarious. So it was awesome to see her in this, and I was like, oh wait, she's in this too. Okay, anytime her and Will Ferrell are together, it's gonna be magic because they just do so much.
Thanks, Charlie. I knew that you would come through for me on that.
Thank you.
Hey guys, at the Night at the Roxbury is a hilarious movie. Molly Shannon's the actress name. Yep. Appreciate it, man. This is, but yeah, I also liked her on Ricky Bobby though, too. She played one of the sponsors, I think, that was in there, and she goes, "I love the vibrations from the car." And
yeah.
But yeah, whenever her and Will Ferrell's on there, it's just spot on comedy, which works. It doesn't feel forced; it just feels natural. Right. And it's actually hard to have that on-screen chemistry. And then also too, when she gets introduced and everything, she goes, "By the way, I just got back from college and everything, and let's just say I know how to go down on somebody." And I'm like, this is the people that you're trying to pick up on, but you're not picking up on this one. But
there's so many orgies at college.
Right.
I'm like, Molly Shannon, the GOAT.
I'm like, yeah, she's a real good girl, Dad. Yeah, bunch of orgies for your son. Girls that, nah. But what else did you like about this, though? Some of the other stuff.
It was kind of hard because it was just I'm a fan of Will Ferrell, and I like how no matter what comedy he's in, he never feels like he's forcing it. It just feels like they're just like, hey, you don't have any lines, just improvise. And I feel like it's just him being natural. So he's always fun to watch. And my wife was telling me about this too, and I kind of agree. I was getting like a Bill and Ted vibe, specifically from Will Ferrell. It's just the way he talks, man. It's kind of like how Keanu Reeves did.
Right. Which makes sense because it's in California and has that surfer type dude kind of attitude, if you think about it. So that actually does play in favor with the whole dude thing that you're mentioning from Bill and Ted. So it does fit the vibe to it. It's very California-ist, if you think about it.
That's how we're out here, bro.
Yeah, dude. I'm gonna go ahead and smoke me a fat one. Rip some waves, dude.
Ride the big waves.
Ride the big waves, dude. But yeah, God. But yeah, then there's also the other part with the police officer when she pulls him over. Because you got a date with Honey the police officer. Way to go.
Gotta meet her in court.
Sweet ass sweet.
I didn't recognize her at first until she showed up later in the end of the movie. But I was like, that's Stifler's mom.
That's right. That was Stifler's mom. Okay,
I was so happy. Another actress that I grew up loving, thinking she's hilarious, but I can't remember her name. And if Charlie's still there, can you help us out, bud?
Phone a friend. What's her name? The actress that played Stifler's mom. But yeah, I didn't recognize her either, although she was actually quite a little bit younger in this one than compared to that. Yeah. Hottie the police officer. I was really looking forward to our court meeting. Jennifer Coolidge. That's her name.
Jennifer Coolidge.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Charlie.
Thank you, Charlie.
And yeah, Hottie the police officer. I was really looking forward to her in court. Yeah. Then after that winds up happening, of course, the next day, that's when we went into the whole other thing. But then they're on the beach. They're walking around, and they're on Speedos. And like, you know what? I'm tired of taking it every single day. We're going to show the man who's boss. We're going to go ahead. We're going to march up to the Roxbury, and they're going to let us in. But how are they going to let us in? There's no way they can let us in. We don't have anything. He goes, that's because we've been stopping our own selves. We've been slowing our own selves down. And you know what? Tonight, we're going into the Roxbury. Now tell me that, now let's say this. Roxbury. Oh, hey, pretty ladies. What's up?
Hey, what's up? What's up? Hey.
What's up? You from out of town?
In their
What's going on?
Speedos. Will Ferrell lightweight caking in the Speedo.
Not as hairy Will Ferrell that we know him from today. To me, he was like less hairy back in the 90s compared to now.
When he was still young. The hair catches up to you. I'm not going to lie, though. I was like, they're kind of rocking those Speedos. I might have to do that, too. Once summer comes rolling back, Speedo time at the beach. I'll post pictures on Insta.
And then all of a sudden you just lose your
followers. My followers have something to look forward to. I go from what I have now to 0.
By the way, you can follow Alex on A-Town Reviews on OnlyFans. On OnlyFans, his Speedo photos will be available for $15. It's only $15 a month.
A-Town Reviews on OnlyFans. I do entire movie reviews, no clothes on. I need to get paid. I need my bills paid.
I'll be working up in here. But yeah.
We might be onto something, John. We might have to invest into that.
We might have to go to the dark side, Charlie. We might have to go into OnlyFans.
OnlyFan movie review.
Just kidding. Okay, this is what Eric Wally says. Doug, you can take our phones and you can take our keys, but you cannot take away our dreams. Steve, yeah, because we're like sleeping when we have them.
Thank you for that reminder.
Thank you. And Charlie said, count them out on the OnlyFans. As a matter of fact, I even told them, I said, I'm doing TikTok stuff now, promoting my stuff on TikTok. He goes, yeah, no, thank you. That's not happening.
You got to get on the TikTok wave. TikTok and OnlyFans. That's where the money's at these days.
But also, too, another thing, too, is the father's also having this party for Emily and her parents and everything. And that's actually his way of trying to get in the way of Doug and Steve because he wants them to be together. And getting rid of Doug is probably the best thing for Steve, according to his father. Then, of course, he goes, well, Emily, I'm not going to go out. I'm going out right now. And then they leave. I'm not going for verbatim. I'm going for verbatim here. I'm just paraphrasing. But then, of course, the mother goes, hey, you forgot these. And it's these huge cell phones from the 1980s and 90s. It looks like stuff from World War I. They're bigger than the Nokia cell phone that we had.
Hello. I liked the mom. I was like, oh, yeah. She's such a sweetheart. She was like, oh, our sons love to party. Here you go, boys. Be safe.
And you see, she was actually more supportive to their dreams than the father was. And that's something that I really appreciated. At least someone believed in them.
Yeah.
The father, on the other hand, not so much. He reminds me of the Italian fathers and stuff like that in those mafia movies where they don't believe in their sons at all. They're just like a real hard ass. And that's what I got from this character was the fact that he's a mafioso kind of father who is old school mentality, who believes in hard work and dedication, and anything that you do and fulfill that, you get what you have. Mm-hmm. And Steve and them don't want to do the flower shop thing. They want to open up their nightclub. No one believes in them, but the mother does.
Yeah.
So I really liked and appreciated that aspect.
Yeah, and they do have that hard work and dedication aspect to their specific dream, but it's not the dream of the father. That's and I'm glad they touched up on that a bit. It's just like, oh, Doug is just like me. Like I was doing the same stuff that Doug was doing. I was going against my father all the time.
Right.
I'm like, okay, there's some
relation. There's some stuff that you can actually enjoy out of that you can relate to and stuff like that in certain aspects of it, which is something I really do appreciate. Then, of course, they're looking for an ATM machine so the way they can pay the bouncer. Is that an ATM machine? No, that's a Popeyes. Oh, okay. What about that one? No, that's not one either. what about that one? No, that's not it. Next thing you know, they're being into Richard Grieco. And Richard Grieco is just doing stuff so the way he doesn't get sued because he's actually driving an illegal Lamborghini.
He's like, oh, they're doing the neck thing.
But they're doing ooh. They're doing the neck thing. I'm going to jail. So what can I do for you guys? Richard Grieco. Oh yeah, Eric Wally. Don't forget about the greatest story of all time. They meet Emilio Estevez, the Mighty Ducks man. Emilio.
I was there. I saw it.
You should have been there.
I was.
But then, of course, they run, like I said, bang into Richard Grieco. They wind up going into the Roxbury because he doesn't want to get sued. But I like how Doug is like, you see, that's because he's an actor. And he knows that we are passionate about what we're doing. And he sees something in us. And then the girlfriend looks at Richard Grieco and goes, why do we have to go to the Roxbury? I just don't want to get sued.
I was like, fair.
So they go into the nightclub finally, and then of course that's when they meet Mr. Zazier and everything. Richard Grieco walks out, and then all of a sudden they're talking about business at the nightclub, and then you see these other two money-hungry girls over there, and you can tell that they're just not in it for Steve and Doug. They're in it for themselves. And they see them with the suits on. It gives you an indication that maybe they might actually have money because, number one, they have the suits. Number two, they're talking to Zazier, the business owner of the club and everything. And so, therefore, they're trying to find ways of actually get to talk to Steve and Doug. Mm-hmm. But Doug is over there talking about the inside-outside nightclub. What did you think about this crazy idea?
You know, when he pitched it, I know it's supposed to come off as, like, stupid sounding, but I was like, I can dig it. You know, people can party while they're waiting in line so they don't feel left out. And the inside is like outside themed. Like when it shows it at the end too, I was just like, that's a cool vibe, actually. I can dig it. That'd be nice if outside in the line of a club there's like couches and, you know, a little bar, you know, that was okay. That was
because then you don't feel as bummed out about not getting in. At least you got onto the outside, which is supposed to be the inside of the club.
You're technically in the inside of the club.
But you know, at least you have the vibe of what the club would be like if you were in the inside of it. You know, so it does make sense. I mean, it would actually be pretty cool. But I wonder if that'd be public intoxication with the bar being there.
Only thing.
Right. Then, of course, Mrs. Zaire goes, Dewey, did you grab my ass? Did you grab my ass?
Yeah.
Sir, it would be mathematically impossible for me to grab your ass from over here.
I was like, what was his deal with that? I was just like, we need this guy to have a catchphrase. You grab my ass? No. In Florida. He's up to his tricks.
I know you. But it kind of has like this Al Pacino kind of vibe from Carlito's Way. In a sense, that's what I got from Mrs. Zazier. He has like that Al Pacino thing, like hooah kind of thing. Did you grab my ass? Did you grab it? You know, that's what I got out of it. And then, of course, because look, boys, you can look like great boys, but let's not talk here. Let's go back to my place and everything. Let's have a party. But also, too, this is also when we have the two girls. Charlie, help me out. What's the name of the character's name? Two of the girls. It's Vivica, and there's also another girl that they walk in with. It's Vivica and Canby. Those are the two girls.
Cammy or Candy?
Canby. Cambi. Yeah,
Oh.
Canby.
Oh. Canby. What were her parents thinking?
Stripper. Just
You're gonna grow up to be a stripper. No, like
But I like the dance. I like the dance choreography with this, where they're just all slapping each other's ass.
That
And I
was
like
fun. It was like the girls were playing along, so they were
anything to get the money. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Vivica and Canby. Thank you, Charlie.
Charlie,
But yeah,
coming in clutch. Thank you.
thank you. But yeah, Vivica and Canby, they're over there grabbing Steve and Doug's ass. They're grabbing her ass. And I like how Mr. Zare goes, there's a lot of ass grabbing going down there. And then, of course, you know, after the dance choreography, then next thing you know, they want to get like Cool Whip for the party.
Just pull over, King Cool Whip. Like, yes.
And then, of course, this is also another thing, once again, with the credit card.
It's like they're building that romance up. I'm like, that's gonna play in later.
Did you think that it would actually play in later, or did you think that it wasn't because of the way that it was actually shot?
I was thinking just how, you know, she showed up periodically at random points. I was like, okay, she's gonna be a end of the movie type of romance, I bet.
Yeah. To be honest with you, when I first saw this in like 7th grade, I was thinking to myself, how is this gonna be linked into like later on? But then once you see it, you realize, okay, so they did try to put a little bit of romance at the end of it. But you know, then of course she winds up swiping the card, and then that's when he winds up swiping the card for her and everything. Goes, well, guess what I got into? I got into the Roxbury.
She's like, no, Doug, you're in a liquor store.
No, before sweetness. Before. Because, well, anyways, you're approved, Doug. Okay, thank you. And he's just over there in a daze, like. Then he goes, she approved. And just walks off and everything. And the limo driver's really pissed off at them. You can tell that he was just really irritated at them and he just wanted to get rid of them for the night.
Mm-hmm.
Then, of course, we see Mr. Zazier and everything, and then he just wants to party. He doesn't care about business or anything like that. He wants to set up a meeting for the next day. Then, of course, Vivica and them go into their own room, and Canby goes into their own room. And at this point, Steve and them are trying to ask him 21 questions. And he's like, hey. Is that a mirror in your pocket? Why? Because I can see myself wearing them.
It was like, you don't need to do the catch pickup lines anymore. We're already about to have sex, dude.
Right. Well, even Canby says the same thing. She goes, look, we're already past that. You're way past the pickup lines. You don't have to worry about that. And it's just not getting through to Doug. He just keeps on doing it. So it gets to the point where Canby's like, you know what? Maybe this guy is just role playing. Maybe I need to go ahead and do what he's doing. Then, of course, in the next room, you see Doug with Vivica. And this is when he's like, so what kind of animals do you have? And she's taking off his pants as she's telling
cat.
Oh, cat. Okay. I'm more of a dog person, you know. But I'm gonna let you talk a little bit too.
Just so oblivious. At first I thought like, oh, they're being oblivious. So I'm like, oh, they might be scared to have sex, actually. I was like, they're about that life until
it actually happens.
Until it happens.
And, you know, the thing that I found that was really funny, though, is at that point, Doug is actually on top of the TV, crawling away from her and everything, too. Because I'm not going to go through the other pickup lines that they say and everything, because, you know, that's just, to me, is corny in a sense, because it's the 90s, especially whenever he looks at the tag and goes, just what I thought, made in heaven. But... But then she starts doing it back to him, and he goes, "Hey, Doug, is that you have a nice body. What would you say if you held it against me?" And he's like, "Hey." Because it catches him off balance a little bit to the point now he's starting to pull away from her, and also too on top of the TV. He gets on top of the TV, and this is before flat screen TVs, everybody.
So they were thick,
right?
500-pound TVs,
right?
Back in those days.
They can hold 2 people, which is more than what the Titanic on the door could hold with Jack. But anyways, that's a story for another day. But then you see Doug on Steve on the other room, and then Vivica's actually asking him, "So this is your first time?" He goes, "No." "Yes." "Is it yours?" And then you see this grin on their faces whenever Steve and Doug are both doing that. And then it cuts into the next scene afterwards. But what did you think about this scene?
I thought it was funny because it was just like what they would do to women, it was suddenly flipped on them, and they didn't know how to respond when someone's being very aggressive with them. So it's kind of like, oh, there's some payback for being pretty rapey throughout the whole movie, which, I know 98 different time, but still doesn't make it right. But
no. I can see, well, it was the 90s, it's okay. No, it's not.
no, it's still bad, and
right.
I don't blame people for enjoying it then, but it's still bad.
Right.
But I thought it was really funny when it was like 43 seconds later and they come running out. Did you just I just did it too. Huh, I'm gonna go back in. See, you do it again. And I was like, 43 seconds. Happens to the best of us.
It's the best of the best.
The best of the best.
I had to do that.
I understood that reference.
I understand.
I cheers to that.
Then on the way to after the party and everything, this of course is where they both get the numbers from the girls. Because we got a number.
We did.
To be honest with you, that's actually how I felt on my 7th grade dance whenever I first got my first girlfriend.
A number.
And then at that time, that's when Hurricane George was coming. So I'm like, figures, my luck, can't plan anything right.
Darn.
But luckily she didn't move, because the first thing I was thinking, this girl probably moved, forgot about me. Let's see here. Did you know Eva Mendes was on the bridesmaid during the Steve and Emily's forced wedding?
Yeah. Eva Mendes just popped up out of nowhere. I was like, she's in this movie. Hi, Eva.
And by the way, I have a huge crush on her, though, as well.
Oh, yeah.
She's such a beautiful woman, though.
So beautiful. I loved her in Hitch.
Yeah, Hitch was great.
She was great in that. The great movie, but she was great in that.
Yeah, she was definitely great in Hitch. I definitely liked aspects of Hitch. Hitch has some problems, but Eva Mendes shined in that movie, though, to be honest with you.
There was another movie that was awful, but I also loved her in.
I also liked her in Out of Time with Denzel Washington. That was also another one.
Oh, yeah. I seen that. But it was a black and white movie. The Spirit.
Okay, yeah, The Spirit.
She was in that, and I liked her in that.
And, of course, Steve hits her on her during the wedding.
Just what's up? From out of town?
What's up, pretty lady? What's up?
I'm like, uh-oh. What happened? Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's just me for a few seconds. How's everyone doing? Experiencing technical difficulties, as I am now all by myself. There he is.
Sorry, a little bit of tech issue real quick. But yeah, so anyways, thank you for filling in with Celine Dion. I do appreciate it.
You.
Nice of you. But so anyways, on Karaoke Movie Lovers Tonight, we're going to talk about, so anyways, on the way, the brothers annoy each other and everything too, because the bodyguard is also trying to throw them out of the building and stuff like that. But, of course, we actually have the thing where they're actually in the elevator dancing to the instrumental music and stuff like that. And then Hathaway's song, What is Love? And then, of course, they act like they're big businessmen. They have their matching clothes on yet again. And then, of course, too, this is also when they wind up tripping and falling on the wet floor. And then they go up to the receptionist, and that's when the meeting up with the limo driver. He goes, by the way, Mr. Zaire said that you're the biggest losers that he actually had to deal with. And by the way, the whipped cream thing was a big hit at the party. Because and then all of a sudden you see Doug going, I knew it would be a big hit. But, I'm going to let you talk about some of the other scenes, though, that stands out for you that you really enjoyed.
Yeah, that actually made me sad. It was just like, no, he doesn't care. He picks up people all the time and gives them, meetings, and, just see their disappointed faces. I was like, oh.
That was sad.
And then at first and then afterwards, I think Steve starts getting with Emily. Because then, he starts getting with Emily. And at first I was excited about it. I was like, oh, that's going to be the end of the movie relationship because, she's been going after him the whole movie. And it seemed like he liked her, but it was Doug that was pulling him away. So I was like, yeah, go get your happiness, Steve. But then it flips the script on you and it makes Emily this overbearing, controlling, only focused on the business merger of their families' businesses.
Right.
And I was like, oh, they're making her mean? No, I really liked her. I didn't. That was really disappointing. I wanted them to be a thing. I was like, oh, okay. So Doug was right the whole time?
I think Doug was trying to protect him from Emily because he knew the kind of influence that she would have on him.
Mm-hmm.
And everything too. It wasn't so much of him being a douchebag towards her. It was the fact that he was just trying to protect his brother in his own way and everything because he wasn't jealous of him. It was just the fact that, they're trying to achieve their great dreams, but at the same time, the father's being involved in it, trying to steer them away from each other. Then also too, you also have Emily, who's also trying to steer them away from each other as well, even though they both got jealous of each other and started, they actually had a fight because of the fact that Vivica and the other girl winds up breaking up with them and everything because they didn't like the fact that they were florists and they're not rich. But, it's just brotherly love and everything because it's just the brother looking out for the other brother and everything, which something I appreciated. Also, too, I like the fact that it's flipped the switch because just because the girl looks nice on the outside, on the inside, she can also be ugly.
That's true.
So I definitely love that aspect because I actually dated some girls that were just like her to the point where I'm in agreement with how Emily was treating Doug, not Doug, but Steve. And Steve is still messed up because his brother's not talking to him. He's living in the, even though they only live next door to each other in the pool house and everything right across, but still there's that missing of that brother and everything too, but then you see her throwing away his disco ball. You see her ripping off his chain that him and his brother wear. You see things that belongs to just the two of them, and now it's no longer just the two of them. Now there's this uninvited guest who's Emily, now being in that room that Doug and Steve used to share. Yeah. And then also too them having sex in the pool, and then of course, Doug goes on and gets the whipped cream to blur it out. Let's see here. Charlie says, it's pretty funny during an episode of AEW Dynamite, there was a live wedding which never works out live on air. LOL. The whole crowd started to sing that What Is Love song.
Oh.
That was funny. That would be hilarious to see, to be honest with you, dude.
Just going to an AEW event is already fun, and everyone starts singing What Is Love? Perfect night.
Exactly. But then of course I like how Steve is worried about Doug and he's like, I'm really missed Doug, Dad. He's next door. You can go on and see him. But there's no HBO. He's got Cinemax, but there's no HBO.
He's 10 feet across from you.
And then of course he's trying to get married to Emily and stuff like that. And also too, Emily also forces herself onto Doug to get her way to propose to him, for him to propose to her. And all he said, you act like we're married And he didn't even say that he wanted to get married to her. He just said the word, "You act like we're married," and all of a sudden she's right on top of him, riding him.
In good old Molly Shannon fashion.
Right. And talking about
how can I make this sexual experience as weird as possible? You get Molly Shannon on the job.
Also, too, you also have another person that is the workout instructor in this movie too, which is just hilarious though too. God, what's his name? I can't.
Charlie,
I know,
what's his name?
Because I know he's related to another actor. It's not Nick Nolte or anything like that, but it's another actor that he's related to. But he also played in Lethal Weapon 1.
Mm-hmm.
The villain in that one, but this is this guy's son. And, he goes, "So what do I do, Steve? What do I do? Do I just, I know I'm the best man, but what do I do? He goes, "You just stand there." Oh. So do I go on ahead and just interrupt whenever you need me or what? And so then I'll
just get my back like a spotter. Sure.
Then of course, they're getting ready to get married, and all of a sudden, Doug comes out with the boombox, and he has that song "What Is Love," and he's over there bobbing his head. And then you actually have the dialogue between Richard Grieco and the father, and having this like 21 Jump Streets drama type of dialogue and everything. He's saying that pretty much he, just to sum it up, basically just telling him that, hey, you need to let your kids go and let them grow and let them explore and do their thing and everything, even though you don't agree with it. So I thought that was a beautiful moment, even though he doesn't want to get sued. Because he also says it again.
Just so I don't get sued. I'm like, you already done a lot. I don't think they're going to see you anymore at this point, but keep being nice, Richard Grieco. Who I totally known all about for a long time already.
Right. For like 10 minutes of the film. But, I thought it was, then of course, then we wind up going to like the ending of the movie and everything, where they finally meet up, of course, with the policewoman. Then you also meet up with the other credit card swiper girl and everything too. And then they wind up dancing. But I like how they make fun of themselves at the end of it. It's like, "So, do you like this song?" "No, I'm getting kind of tired of it." And then because they've been playing it all through the movie.
This is the whole movie. They were just slapping it.
Right. So, all in all, I find myself laughing at some of it, and other parts I'm like, to be honest with you, it's not as funny as I remember as growing up. Yeah. I mean, but the soundtrack still kicks ass. I love the soundtrack.
Dope soundtrack.
Which I own. I still own that soundtrack. Let's see, Credit Vixen, and Credit Vixen was the character's name. But what's your thoughts on this as a whole?
First off, I gotta say that I did absolutely love the ending, mostly because I like that Doug got with the credit card lady, but I totally forgot about the cop from that gave Steve the ticket. So when she's like, "Oh, and I have my friend," and it was the cop, I was like, "Oh, that's so awesome!" It was like a plot twist. That wasn't meant to be a plot twist, I guess, but it was really exciting for me. I wanted to tear up because I'm like, oh, they're both with people who
understands them,
like them, and they like them back, and it's just all genuine. It's nice, and it warms my heart. And I like that they also get their club. Like the businessman wasn't shady about it. He was like, "No, I made it for you. This is yours." And I was like, oh, happy ending. I love happy endings. Always make me just happy. Right. But overall, for me, I feel like this is a movie I could only watch and enjoy by myself. It
is such a dude movie, though, to be honest.
Yeah, it's very much a dude movie. But if I watch it with my wife or anyone else for that matter, I'm picking apart everything. I'm just like, okay, I understand the 11% rating.
It's like you're being whipped it's like you're being whipped, being punished for watching
it's
it.
like this is awful. This is really awful, but I enjoy it. It's like when Burger King had those mac and Cheetos. Have you ever had those?
Yeah.
Oh, so for those of you that don't know, mac and Cheetos were Cheeto puffs stuffed with macaroni and cheese, and it is disgusting for you. It is the worst possible thing you can eat, but I loved it so much. It tasted so good. That was this movie. This movie was a mac and Cheeto.
Okay, I gotcha. For me as a whole, though, I liked how they're actually pretending that well, of course, they're the business owners, and he goes, you know what? That needs more. You know what this needs? More cherries. Good call.
Good call, Steve.
Ooh, diabetes is what Charlie said. Needs Jim Carrey for a sequel. Hilarious sketch on SNL. Yep, it was definitely a great sketch on SNL.
Oh yeah, I would watch a sequel. I know I'm pretty against like making sequels to popular movies from 20 years ago, but I'll let this one slide because it got 11% on Rotten Tomatoes. So it's like it can't get any worse.
If they can actually put it in like a 2021 type of vibe and have those characters fleshed out a little bit more to where maybe we'll have a lot more comedy with it, working off of the feminist stuff and things like that, I think it could actually work. And also have Jim Carrey there and everything too, as like the long lost brother and everything and stuff like that, or somewhere or another how they're actually connected,
right?
And everything. But for me, overall, I still find myself enjoying the film, but not as much as I used to enjoy it, just because some of the stuff that they actually do in this film is actually pretty much cringeworthy in a sense. And I like some of the jokes. Some of the jokes really lands, and then some of them is really outdated, especially the pickup lines that Doug uses that never ever actually work on anybody. And then there's some of the other stuff, the other elements that I didn't really care for either. The over sexualization of women and how they actually handle that and everything. It's okay to see it in the bar scene, but as far as over sexualization when it comes down to the tight clothing, pushing their boobs up to where they can actually, where the girls might get lucky to where they can score off of these other guys and mooch off of them and stuff like that. But I do like how they switch it off of the guys, and then they all of a sudden the guys don't know what to do whenever the girls are now doing the pickup lines. I do like that aspect.
Yeah.
But as a whole, I'm okay with it. I mean, it's I want to say it's like a raisin cookie where you're expecting a chocolate chip, but instead you get a raisin cookie. And this is also why you have trust issues. So yeah, I would actually put it in that kind of category.
Like if you're like, this is raisin, but it's still a cookie.
Right. And I will eat this since this is like the only one thing in my house. But still, overall, still a little bit of a fun movie, but I still enjoy it in certain aspects. But with that being said, Alex, where can everybody follow you at?
So you can find me at A-Town Reviews on YouTube. You can also follow me on Instagram or Twitter at ATownAlex3, the number 3. So go ahead and follow me. I love to meet you all. Let's chat it up. Let's talk about movies. And yeah, thank you so much for having me again, John.
You're welcome, man. It's always a blast having you on here and everything, and just talking back and forth and doing some improv stuff that we never thought about doing in the first place. All the stuff that we did was pretty much improv. We didn't even talk about doing any kind of skits or anything like that and things like. So I do appreciate you being on the show and just us just goofing off and having a good time with it.
So much fun every time.
Welcome, man. So with that being said, guys, go on ahead and donate to the Red Cross. I teamed up with two Blur Girls podcast, and we're just selling Cincy's. All the Cincy stuff goes over to the people who lost their homes in Louisiana and stuff like that. and all the proceeds go over to the Red Cross. So therefore, you can actually donate some money over there. Of course, if you guys want to donate to us, all you have to do is go to www.gofundme.com/movie lovers podcast. Donate to $10 over there if you want to. If you don't, a simple share goes a long way over here. So smash that like button, smash that share button, smash that little bell in the bottom right hand corner to let everybody know that we have certain things coming up. As a matter of fact, we have a trailer that's dropping tomorrow that Charlie and I just reacted to, which is the Hawkeye trailer. So you guys don't want to miss out on that. Then, of course, guys, Tuesday, I actually have Frenchie coming on with me at 8 o'clock Central Time, 9 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Pacific Time with Charlie. We're going to be just breaking down the Matrix trailer, talking all things Matrix. And then Wednesday, I have Rivka Reyes from School of Rock coming on. And we're doing a catching up episode with Rivka Reyes. And that's at 8 o'clock Central Time, 9 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Pacific Time for that one. Wednesday night, it's up in the air on what we're doing, but stay tuned for more and further details on what we're doing on Wednesday night. Wait, Wednesday night is actually Rivka Reyes. My bad. So Wednesday night is Rivka Reyes. Tomorrow night is actually the Matrix Talk. And Thursday is our 7 Days of Hell review that we're doing. Charlie and I are doing. That's actually part of HBO Max. And then, of course, you guys can go on ahead, go over to Good Pods and everything. Rate us over there on Good Pods. It's an app for people that love podcasting or listen to podcasts. Rate us on Good Pods and everything. It's so much better than Apple Podcasts. It gives us a way to actually interact with you. Of course, you guys can get this episode and many more of our episodes where you guys get your podcast from. And then, of course, if you want to, go ahead and head over to Twitter at Movie Lovers Unit over there. That's where you guys can follow me at. And then, of course, if you're a sponsor would like to be on the show, just go on ahead and email me at movieloversunite@gmail.com. And, of course, you guys can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest underneath the same brand name on Movie Lovers, TV Lovers Unite over there. And then follow me at Movie Lovers Unite 0 on TikTok. And that's where you guys can reach me at. And always until next time, guys, it's been real. It's been fun. I can't wait to do this again. And bye-bye.